just you know, but I was hard-headed. I was my mama, Lord, she's right. You know, so I'm probably around in my late teens. I'm very impressionable at this point, especially with my dad. I don't know how many people in here know my daddy, but to know dude Seamster was to know dude Seamster. That's just the way it was. You know, you saw what you got. I'm a lot like my dad. But so I'm in my late teens, 11 years old. I mean, daddy's office one day, and I can hear this man on the other end of the telephone. I mean, he is taking chunks out of my daddy's ass. I'm like, oh, no. You know, daddy ain't no, but he ain't saying nothing. So I go on out, you know, and I come back in, daddy said, you want to go with me tomorrow? Anytime daddy asks you to go, I always go. You know, because there was going to be an adventure at some point. So we leave that morning, I mean, before it was light. We rode about 3 hours. Daddy pulled over to this little country store, and he said, come on, get some drink, pack of mayo. We went on in the store. Daddy bought a can of mustard, a jar of mustard. You know, I ain't questioning dude, you know. So we get in the car, and they was driving a Grand Prix at the time, I believe. We pulled up back to the sawmill. And he said, come on. I said, Daddy, get that bag of mustard. He's going up in the office, and that man was on the telephone he was talking to last night. Dude stood there for a minute. The man got off the phone, and he went to say something to my daddy, and Daddy stopped him. He said, let me explain something to you. He pulled that mustard out that bag. He set it on that man's table. He said, next time you think you want to take chunks out of my ass, you try smearing that mustard on it first, see how that works. Now let me tell you something. I just heard my daddy get wrong. And that man didn't stand up. He sat there and didn't say a word. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm learning how to talk to people now. you know. So Daddy was not the enforcer in our family. It was my mama, and I love my mama best. She never beat me, she never abused me, but she beat my ass when needed, and it was needed a hell of a lot. And I've got more weapons than probably everybody in this room put together. That's just wait. Well, not you, Ronnie. I can believe that, Ronnie. You might have me on that one. So apparently, I done made Daddy mad one day. I don't know what I done. There's no telling what I done. And Daddy said, "Go get me a switch." So true, smart ass Johnny Seamster. Hell was I in? Yeah, lived. You know, there are trees. We didn't have trees in the yard. But you know, one about 50 yards right there, that was the woods. Way across that field over about 400 yards, there were some trees. So I take off walking. I walk over there, you know, and I'm cussing the whole time, don't want to get my ass beat. So I go over there and I pick up this little thing to switch. I do it wrong when I done it. You know, I'm walking on back across the field, you know. I get up there and dude looks at me, he said, really? Let me have that. Let me tell you something, he tore my ass up with that thing. And then when he got done with that one, he said, man, go get me a switch like I told you to. I went 50 yards that time. I'm done. I knew my threshold would do. You know, and I found it out the hard way. That's my dad's horse. There's a wonder he didn't have a coronary and die before he died when he did. So I had a cousin lived up the hill from me, and that was really my only friend. Granddad, my nanny lived up the hill. That's my daddy's mama, nanny. So, and my big mama lived up there too. That was my nanny's mama. And my aunt lived on the other side of her with my daddy's sister. So, you know, we was all right there together. But right across from my nanny's house, anybody know where the fire tower is in Liberty Courthouse? So, the fire tower was forbidden. That was forbidden fruit. Don't do it. Well, me and Glenn was playing with Nanny. Nanny got the cooking in the kitchen. And when Nanny gets the cooking in the kitchen, she ain't thinking about nothing else. You know, that's what I thought. So Glenn said, let's go to the fire tower. Glenn said, no, we're going to ask you. go back. Let's go. So here we go to the fire tower. Well, I was up by the third floor. Glenn was up by the fifth. I was scared of heights because I done fell over a damn tree. And I was scared of heights at that point. I didn't go up too far. Well, Glenn Gilman, that's right. That's my cousin. Oh, he was. Bless his heart, dead and gone now. But, so, we up there. So, all of a sudden, it wasn't Glenn's name. Johnny! I looked, and there's Nanny coming out the front door. I said, oh, hell. And I mean, she's running. At this time, you know, my Nanny is probably in her late 40s, 50s. And to me, at that time, she was 80 years old. You know, all our nannies were old. They always were old. When we met them, they were old when they died. You know, and that's just the way that is, and bless their hearts. You know, so I see Nanny running across, and she done got Glenn in the equation. I'm like, thank God. You know, and we are coming down this thing. Glenn moved fast as I was, but I was on the third floor too. So I come on, Nanny done picked up, this ain't no lie now. Nanny done picked up about an 8-foot riding crop buggy whip out the yard. You know that long, said fiberglass is braided leather, about that much on the end is frayed. That one. I see her running, I'm like, Lord God, I gotta go. So, you know, here come Nanny. About the time Nanny get there, I sailed off the steps. Well, I left Glenn. She beat Glenn's ass. But, so, you know, I done got back across the street, you know, here come Nanny. And she was running this time. And man, I thought I was out in front of her, you know, I was getting it there pretty good. And man, all of a sudden, all you can hear is, pow! Let me tell you something, your ass got another gear, you about 2 foot over in front of you, if you understand me. You didn't want that one more time. Once was enough, I stopped. Just don't beat me with that no more. But, you know, bless my Nanny's heart, and when I didn't give her, Lord, my poor Nanny. So, the little hellion that I am, so I was raised in the Episcopal church, and I had to act like it. In church, won't no joke with my mom. That was unexcused absence. Period. You better be on your deathbed, in the bed, sick. Because other than that, you're going to be in church. And guess what? Episcopal church, 5 o'clock on Sunday. Now, how inconvenient is that? I mean, good God. You know, I got stuff to do. It's late. You know, so anyway, we had, at the most in our church was maybe 10 people. And that was including me, Mama, and the preacher, and my sister. Is that not right, Sue? That's my sister sitting right now. So one Sunday it was cold. We had no back room. Had one of them little tin wood heaters. You know, not no metal, tin. You know, that damn thing get cherry red hot. So I was wearing vestments. And vestments is this long black gown, it's got that little white thing on top of it. I wasn't really enthused about that. I hope nobody God ever saw me in that with a finger. That's how I felt about it. But anyway, so I'm sitting there, and Mr. Bailey, okay. So Mr. Bailey was our preacher. Love him, but he was dry as ice. And let me tell you something. When you preach a sermon, you got to keep my attention. Because if you don't, I'm going to sleep. And not only am I going to go to sleep, I'm going to snore. You know, there's been many a day my mama had to stop Mr. Bailey because my head had gone back, and I mean, I'm letting it rip now. My mama was not proud. But anyway, we in church. I'm sitting next to this tin heater. The vestment, they are so dry, they probably come across on the Mayflower. So I'm sitting there at this thing, and I didn't know, you know, you ain't dozed off, but you can close your eyes. You know that. At that time, I was like, and I opened my eyes in. I'm looking all around. My vestments done caught on fire. I don't mean a little bit. I don't mean smoldering. They flaming. Flames coming up. I knew I couldn't say nothing because if I did, my mama would beat my ass in church. But I am thinking to myself, I can't even be saved in church. The devil is sitting right here burning me in front of the preacher. I don't have a chance in hell. I ain't no lie. Y'all think I'm playing, right? It's true. Damn. Not yet. So, my nanny, and I know if y'all had nanny, you're going to know what I'm talking about. We ate dinner, and dinner was lunch at Nanny's every Sunday. You know, and all the family came. You know, it was a big deal. I wish it still did. You know, but the world we live in now, that, I don't know what the hell it is. But anyway, so we done finished up dinner. And me and Glenn out there in the yard. Well, Nanny had a big old woodshed. And the blackbirds would go up there. Well, I done found some frog eggs over in the shop. So I done took the frog eggs. I done got Glenn. I said, come on. So we got down there. I said, we gonna gig them birds. And I said, you can't go up to them and get them. You gotta throw it. So old Glenn threw it, and he missed sure enough. When it left my hand, I knew where it was going. I just saw it. And it stapled that blackbird to a block of oak. It didn't kill him. It was through him. This thing was screaming bloody murder. Do you understand me? And I'm trying to get to the bird to make it stop. I hear the back door. Johnny! It's not Glenn. It's Johnny. It's always Johnny. You know, so it is what it is. So along that same 10, 11, 12 years old, there's a little corner grocery at the courthouse. And when I was little, all the old men used to come and tell stories. You know, I look forward to that. Ronnie Williams, am I wrong? Anybody sitting in here that grew up in my time knows exactly what I'm talking about that country store. So, I got a life education at that country store, I can promise you. You know, so, you got to put that in. You know, I'm getting life education. I'm not getting book education. I'm getting life education from a bunch of old men. My kind of education. You know, I'm all in. Because I hated school. You know, but, and then, when I was able to go to the store and sit with these old men, I was introduced to 3 cousins that I had. 2 that died, I got 1 still here. But they sort of took me under their wing. And let me tell you, at 11, 12 years old, you have cousins that have that driver's license and trucks.
So funny.
You ain't like playing that. And my mama let me go everywhere with these people. All she wanted to know who you with, and you know, I had to careful to be home. Outside of that, gee, my life would have been in North Carolina somewhere. But my 3 cousins, bless their heart, they didn't talk real plain. I understood. And most everybody else understood. But they had a little bit of an accent. You know, my mama enunciates every word in the English language. I rip it to shreds. You know, that's just who I am. So, now I have these 3 people in my life that can't talk real good, and like I said, I can be influenced really easy. So I'm picking this up, you know, okay. You know. So